Carol said it's in the other room. It should be on the window, right? Anyway. Back to the match. So now we have Michael versus Martin van Haasteren, which is a Dutch player I don't know too much about, but he's been doing really well all week. MJ's trailing quite a bit behind here. I guess the mushroom shortcut there. Well, it's not much of a shortcut really, but it saves some time. Too far away from the red. Yeah, decides to drop it. Patrick joining me on commentary again.
Yeah, I heard Mario saying he doesn't know much about Martin van Haasteren,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I can chip in on that for a little bit.
Cool.
First time I actually met Martin was back in 1996.
Oh, really? Old school.
During a national championship of Nintendo,
Ah,
where we
right.
had to play like, I think roughly about 10 games. And he actually became champion that year, January 1996.
That's cool. All right.
So he was in a newspaper and he showed me recently, I'm like, what? I knew you from back then? I completely forgot his face.
Yeah, okay.
But it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And he recently just joined Team NL, so we met him up a couple of times. And he's now been joining CDM for his third or fourth time.
Yeah, so it has been quite a few times before. And he's been performing very well all week.
Oh yes.
Also, to answer your question, Sean, 1884, you were born exactly 100 years before it was cool, but that's okay. How many people started in the championship? I think 61 in total.
Roughly, yes. It's been an increasing number since the past few years. It started out in 2002 with only 16, 17 players, which was just a bunch of friends together in an attic.
Friends.
And it grew up to become more and more and more until the first foreign player comes in the scene, and now we pretty much have like players all over the world. So, but we technically can household about 64 players, which is a feasible amount. But if we really must, I think we can crush it over 100. But that's really cramped up.
Yeah.
But who can play in this championship? Pretty much anybody who registers. So there's no restriction, no qualification beforehand. If you register on the website that you want to play in this championship, you show up, you're done, you're in. And you can play every day, every mode against every player. Until you're knocked out, of course.
Well, yeah, that does happen.
That's why we have the qualifications right now. This is called the group stage, which is 14 rounds. After that, there's the knockout system. So we actually have an on-site qualification. So if you want to join up next year, be sure to register on ffsmk.org, and you'll be notified for the championship next year.
So another track where Michael misses the zoom start and is trailing behind, and Martin is just playing very solid. So you can make up the time here with a mushroom or something like a red, maybe. Star does help, but still a bit far behind. Red may do it, maybe. No, it's not quite enough. Yeah, he fires the red and he gets to the same conclusion as me. New item star, too late. Yeah, it was down to lightning pretty much. Mushroom was also too late, I'm afraid. Alright, so good job to Martin for winning that one. It's 3-0, I think. Still gonna play GB3 just to see what the score line is. Another missed zoom start. Yeah, MJ said before he started playing, and I played a set with him, that he didn't feel too good about the zoom starts in match racing. It is coming back to bite him. Sean, for the CDM, which it's called, which is Champion du Monde, I believe, champion of the world. It is SMK only. We do also play tournaments on the side. like yesterday, we had a Mario Kart Double Dash tournament with, I think, 5 of the top 10 players in the world. And we're gonna have a Mario Kart 64 tournament on Saturday, I believe, with Michael Jongerius, Steven Swartjes, Christian Wild's gonna be here, David Mall. I'm not entirely sure who's gonna join the tournament, but hopefully as many as possible. But that is, those are all side tournaments, so yes, the championship is strictly SNK for the official championship. Also, the prizes we have for the winners are sponsored by Nintendo of France. So there's some really cool stuff there.